Hi, and welcome to WarHQ. My name is Lucius. Today, what we will cover is grenades and their use within Kill Team. Now, we'll start by looking at the general rules that are available for grenades in Kill Team. We'll have a look at the unique faction tactics available for grenades specifically. We're going to have a look at standout grenades, which are the best, which are the worst. We're going to have a look at some of the unique grenades available to some factions. And most of all, we're going to go through what grenades to use and when you're fighting within Kill Team. So, without further ado, let's get started. Now let's have a look at the rules which affect grenades and their use within Kill Team. The first thing to note about grenades, and this is unlike regular shooting, is that they do not suffer a -1 penalty to hit at long range. So within Kill Team, long range is defined as any distance over half the range of its normal shooting ability. So, unlike normal shooting, grenades can fire up to their full range without a penalty. The second thing to note about grenades is that they can only be used once within your Kill Team per phase. So what this means is that there are only really 2 phases that they could be used in. The first is within the movement phase when you're declaring Overwatch against a charging enemy. The second would be within the regular shooting phase, and that can happen with a readied model or within the normal shooting that occurs afterwards. But it can only happen with 1 model per turn within your Kill Team, and that is the most important thing to remember. Okay, let us first begin by taking a look at which faction tactics are available for the use of grenades within Kill Team. Now, not all factions within Kill Team have unique tactics that can aid them with grenades, but some do, and I'm going to go through them now. The Adeptus Astartes have available to them a tactic called smoke grenades. Now, this costs 1 command point, and it reads as follows. Use this tactic at the beginning of the shooting phase. Choose an infiltrator or suppressor sergeant from your Kill Team that isn't shaken. That model can make shooting attacks in this phase, but until the end of the phase, all models within 3 inches are considered to be obscured to models that target them with shooting attacks. So this isn't a specific grenade in itself, but it is a smoke grenade which is available to these 2 sergeant models. And I guess it's really designed so when you deploy, you may be in the open, you may be on a point, you can make yourself obscured and those models around you. Really handy if you're going to do any recon drops behind enemy lines within that first turn. So keep this one in mind. Now, the Astra Militarum have an amazing grenade tactic, and it's called Cooked Grenade, and it reads as such. Use this tactic when you choose a model from your Kill Team to make a shooting attack with a frag grenade. Instead of determining the number of attacks for the shooting attack, roll a d6. On a roll of 1, the model suffers a mortal wound and the attack sequence ends. On a roll of 2+, until the end of the phase, change the weapon's type to Grenade 6. So basically this means you're either delivering a mortal wound, which is amazing, or you're going to be getting 6 attacks with your grenade. This is very powerful, and it only costs 1 command point for the Astra Militarum. The Astra Militarum also have access to a second tactical ability, and this one is called Grenadiers, and it costs 1 command point. Basically, use this tactic when you choose a model from your Kill Team to shoot in the shooting phase. You can use a grenade weapon that model is equipped with, even if another model from your Kill Team has already used a grenade weapon this phase. You can use this tactic multiple times in the same phase. So this is very handy again. So this enables you for 1 command point, you could use this potentially twice per turn, to throw extra grenades until you run out of command points basically with your models. The Astra Militarum having fairly poor shooting for standard models, this makes them very competitive. The Adeptus Custodes have access to a tactic called concussion grenades. Use this tactic when you choose an Alaris custodian from your kill team to shoot with a ballistic grenade launcher in the shooting phase. Until the end of the battle round, that weapon has an AP characteristic of 0, but models that suffer any hits from that weapon cannot attack in the shooting phase, and your opponent must subtract 1 from hit rolls made for those models in the fight phase. So, basically what you're doing with this one is you're sacrificing your -3 AP on your ballistic grenade launcher. But any successful hit, now that's not a wound or any injuries, that's just a hit. Any successful hit will rob that target of the ability to shoot in the shooting phase, which can be very powerful if you were trying to take out a sniper from an enemy team, which could threaten you greatly as a Custodes player. And they also receive that -1 to hit in the melee phase as well. So overall, quite a useful tactic for one command point. The Adeptus Custodes also have access to a second grenade tactic, and this is called Tanglefoot Grenade. Use this tactic at the start of the movement phase. Choose an enemy model within 12 inches of a model other than a shaken model from your kill team and roll a d6. Until the end of the phase, that model's controlling player must reduce that model's move characteristic and charge rolls by the result. Units with the fly keyword are not affected. This is a one command point tactic and could be useful for any powerful models that might be going to charge one of your Custodes models for stopping them from doing so. So keep this in mind. The Drukhari have access to a special grenade ability, and it is called Torment Grenade. Use this tactic when you choose a model in your kill team to shoot with a Phantasm grenade launcher. If an enemy model is hit by an attack made with that weapon this phase, then in addition to normal effects, roll 3d6. If the result is higher than the target's leadership characteristic, it suffers 1 mortal wound. Now this costs 2 command points, and the normal blight launcher ability is such. If a model is hit by 1 or more Phantasm grenade launchers, subtract 1 from the leadership characteristic until the end of the battle round. So with this, you can see for 2 command points, you could very easily deliver a free mortal wound. So that makes this a useful tactic in certain circumstances. The Orcs have available a tactic known as Mech's Special Stick Bomb, and this costs 2 command points. Use this tactic when you choose a model from your kill team to attack with a stick bomb. Until the end of the phase, change the weapon's type to Grenade D3 and add 1 to its strength and damage characteristics. Now, a normal stick bomb without these benefits is classed as Grenade D6, has a 3 strength and does 1 damage. So you can see that this boosts the damage and the strength of this weapon. Now, let's have a look at some of the best grenade types available to some of the factions. Now, not all factions can use grenades, but the ones that can and that stand out, I will go through now and tell you why. Okay, so one of the best grenades available, in my opinion, is the Eldar Plasma Grenade. Now, this can be used across some of the models within all 3 Eldar factions. Now, it's a Grenade D6. It is 4 strength, and it is -1 AP and does 1 damage. So this is a massive improvement on your normal frag grenades, stick bombs, and all your normal, 3 strength kind of grenades that you have. This is really cool. As an Eldar player, you should be looking to throw as many of these as you can. The next one is the ability for Imperial forces and for some of the Heretic Astartes and Chaos forces to be able to use either crack grenades or frag grenades. This makes them a very strong combination because with the crack grenade, you have a very strong grenade. It only has G1, so it can only have 1 attack, but it has a strength of 6, -1 AP, and does D3 damage, where alternatively the frag grenade is your normal D6, attacks, strength 3, and it does 1 damage with 0 AP. So having this ability to be able to split between the two lets you able to tackle different types of enemy that you come across. So it's one of my favorite combos. The Death Guard have a grenade called the Blight Grenade. Now, it's basically just a standard frag grenade, but you get to reroll once, which makes it slightly better. The Custodes have a Ballistus Grenade Launcher, which is very powerful. It does D3 attacks, Assault 3, which is even better, Assault D3, has -3 AP and does 1 damage. And because it's a launcher, it has the extra range as well available to it. The other grenades that I like are from the Elites, and they are the Frag Bomb and the Grenadier Gauntlet from the Astra Militarum list for Ogrins. These are good. They do D6 hits, 4 strength, 0 AP, and 1 damage. So they're an improvement upon your normal frag grenade. You can either throw them like a bomb with the Ogrin, or you can launch them from the Grenadier Gauntlet, which gives them increased range. So these are my favorite grenade types. I will now go through some of the unique grenade types that are available. Now, these are ones that don't necessarily cause normal damage, but have special effects. And they are as follows. Now, the Adeptus Astartes Reaver has access to a shock grenade. And this shock grenade is a grenade D3. This weapon does not inflict any damage. If an enemy infantry model is hit by any shock grenades, it is stunned. Until the end of the next battle round, that model cannot fire Overwatch or be readied. And your opponent must subtract 1 from hit rolls made for that model. So this could be useful in a number of situations. The Grey Knight kill team has access to a unique grenade called Psych Out grenades. Now these are a grenade D3 and have a 2 strength, 1 damage. Each time you roll a hit roll of 6+ for this weapon when targeting a Psyker or a Demon, that target suffers a mortal wound instead of its normal damage. The Drukhari have access to Phantasm grenades, which they shoot through their launchers. Now, these grenades are a D3. They have a 1 strength and 1 damage. If a model is hit by 1 or more Phantasm grenade launchers, subtract 1 from its leadership characteristic until the end of the battle round. Now, this can also be combined, as we've talked about previously, with the special tactic that the Drukhari get to deliver a mortal wound potentially. The Tau have access to photon grenades. Now, this weapon does not inflict any damage. Your opponent must subtract 1 from hit rolls made for infantry models that have suffered any hits from photon grenades until the end of the battle round. And this is a grenade D6. In a lot of cases, throwing a grenade can be better than a regular Overwatch shooting attack or a regular attack, and some armies should aim to use up their grenades as much as they can within those 2 phases of combat. Now, knowing which type of grenade to use is important. For example, with the Adeptus Astartes, they have access to 2 normal grenade types, being the Crack and the Frag Grenade. Now, if you've got a Reaver model, and they're pretty good in close combat, but they just have a pistol, a bolt pistol to shoot at the enemy. Now, this is 1 attack. Now, say something like a Harlequin is charging you or something, which is a low toughness kind of model but has invulnerability saves. You're going to want to use a Frag Grenade. This will give you D6 attacks to take that Harlequin out, and one of those is probably likely to get through its invulnerability of 4+. Now, on the other hand, if you're finding another Marine equivalent army, Death Guard or Heretic Astartes, you choose something like a Crack Grenade, because this Crack Grenade is going to help you to negate the armor of the enemy, and therefore deliver D3 wounds to it. It makes a lot of sense if you think about it practically. Now, a lot of these grenades that I've gone through already have special tactics available to them, and these should be utilized as much as possible. Think about the type of grenade you've got, and think about the type of enemy that you're throwing it at, and try and maximize your potential at all times within Kill Team. I hope this video has been helpful to you. Grenades are one of these things that lots of players overlook, and today I thought I'd just go through some of those grenades and how they're used in Kill Team, just to bring them back to your awareness, or for new players to identify them. If you've liked it, please think about subscribing to this channel. As always, like the video and consider becoming one of our Patreons if you want more of this kind of content, which is what we aim to deliver. But for now, this is WarHQ, and I'm signing out.